What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Keep It Techie channel. I'm your host, Josh, and today I've got a great tutorial for you all. I want to dive into OwnCloud on Ubuntu, where I'll show you how to set up your own cloud storage. No need to rely on big tech companies to store your files when you can take control of your own data. And you know, that's what I'm all about on this channel. I try to show you guys how to protect your privacy as best you can. And I want to go through the whole process step by step. I'll also incorporate my LAMP stack script from my Linux Arsenal repo on GitHub. And this will make the process a whole lot easier for you guys, especially those that are new to running a Linux server. But you might ask, why OwnCloud? Can I just use Google Drive or Dropbox? Well, sure you can, but where's the fun in that? Plus, with OwnCloud, you own your data. There's no prying eyes, no data mining, just you and your files. So go down and grab yourself a coffee, sit back, and let's get started. All right, now before we jump into the install, let's get a quick overview of what OwnCloud is all about. And I'm at owncloud.com. And if you read through here, OwnCloud is an open source file sharing platform that works like a charm across all devices. And that's from desktops to smartphones to tablets, you name it. And so think of it as having your own personal Google Drive, but way cooler because you're in full control. So whether you're looking to sync files, share them securely, or even collaborate with others, OwnCloud's got you covered. And it's perfect for anyone who wants to maintain their privacy and control over their data. And the best part, it runs like butter on Ubuntu, which is why we're focusing on that today. And like I said in the intro, I'll be using Ubuntu 24.04. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll also be setting up the LAMP stack using my script. So you don't have to worry about typing out a whole bunch of commands, just the ones to get Nextcloud installed. So let's go down and switch over to my virtual machine so we can get started. Hey y'all, Josh here from Keep It Techie. Real quick, let's talk about Rocky Linux. This distro is the real deal if you're looking for a solid enterprise-ready Linux solution. It all started after Red Hat dropped CentOS, and Gregory Kurtzer, the OG co-founder of CentOS, brought us Rocky Linux as a tribute to his late friend, Rocky McGough. This is community-driven, open source software at its finest, and it's already making waves. Rocky Linux 8.10 is out now, giving you that enterprise-grade stability without all the Red Hat licensing headaches. So whether you're running a home lab or a full-on data center, Rocky's got your back. So if you want to keep it open source and keep your data secure, check out Rocky Linux. The link's down in the description of the video. It's built by the community, for the community, and it's here to stay. Stay techie, y'all. All right, now let's get into the good stuff, and that's the installation. I'll be walking you guys through how to set up OwnCloud step by step, but first, let's get the prerequisites out the way. First off, you'll need a fresh Ubuntu 24.04 server, which I have right here. This is updated and all that stuff. Also, you need to make sure you have sudo privileges because we'll need to install packages, obviously. And then also, you need to have the LAMP stack installed, which I'll install using my trusty LAMP script from my Linux Arsenal repo. And if you don't know what LAMP is, LAMP stands for Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP, basically the bread and butter of web development. And before I start, let me hop back over to my browser and go to my GitHub page so I can show you guys what I'll be using to install LAMP. This is my Linux server Arsenal collection of scripts. And I basically made this to save myself some time while recording these videos, but as you can see, it can help you out as well. And I recently updated it, but if you look under assets, this is all the different scripts. I just basically have a whole bunch of scripts in here, and this is the one I'm looking for, our lamp.sha. So let me go down and go back up to the main repository. Actually, let's go back. And what I want to do is just clone this repository down to our server. So let's go Linux terminal, and all we have to do is use git, and git should be installed. Yeah, it's installed. It should be installed by default on Ubuntu 24.04. So all you have to do is type git clone and then paste the link in there. Make sure you put a space in between it, press enter. That'll clone that repository into whatever directory you're in. And right now I'm actually in my home directory. So we can ls our home directory and we'll have a copy of that directory. And actually let's go into our Linux server Arsenal and then also that folder called assets. And let's ls out these scripts right fast. And like I said, what we're looking for is our lamp SHA script. It is not executable, so you have to change it executable. So let's go chmod, let's go plus X, and then we want to do the lamp and press enter. Boom, good to go. And if we ls this directory again, you'll see that the script that's executable, it turned green. So it should show the same on your end as well. So all we have to do is run this. So we can type sudo dot / and then lamp and press enter, and it will install the lamp stack on your system. So let's go on and run through it. And also, this script will work on CentOS as well as Arch. You know, that's what distinguishes the distros, really. Well, one of the main features that distinguishes the different distros. If it's Arch based, it's going to use Pacman. If it's Ubuntu or Debian based, it's going to use apt and CentOS, you know, the other package managers as well. It's going to go through, install Apache, MySQL, as well as PHP on the system, get it set up for you. So be back in a sec. All right, so we good. Our script has ran successfully and we have LAMP installed. So let's cd out of that directory. And then one thing you want to do is just basically check your services and just verify that they're running. So if you run sudo systemctl and then status, and we can check Apache, I believe it's Apache 2, yeah, .service. Press enter, it's active, running, and enabled. That's one thing the script will do. It'll go through and start the service and enable it. And I believe the installation does that. I can't remember. I know in the past it didn't start automatically and you have to go in and enable it. And then also we want to check our MySQL server just to make sure it's running. So MySQL.service. Boom, you'll see the server is operational, it's enabled, active, running, all that good stuff. Now we need to go in and create a MySQL database for OwnCloud. This part is crucial because OwnCloud will need it to store all the user data and permissions. So let's jump into MySQL right fast, and we can just type MySQL, and there's no password on this thing, I don't think. So we'll see when we get there, but -P, press enter, and press enter. That should get us in. Yeah, I didn't type in any password, so it shouldn't be a password. You might want to set a password to that. I'm not going to do it at the moment, but you can go in and do it whenever you want to, or create a user for it, which we're going to create a user actually just for OwnCloud. And so let's create our database. So we can type create database, and then let's name it OwnCloud_DB. That'll work. And then our semicolon at the end and press enter. That'll create our database. Now let's create a user. So let's just type create user, and then always do it like this and then let's go back and type local host, and then the user account, we can name it OwnCloud user or something like that. So OwnCloud user, and boom, there we go. So it's username, and you have to put in single quotes at localhost. And then we want to type in a password for it. So it's identified by, and then whatever password you set. I'm gonna just put password 123 and then put the single quote up there, and then the semicolon at the end, and this should create our user. Yep, boom. As long as you see query okay, you know, 0 for rows affected, you should be good. It'll error out if you make a mistake, so just know that it won't actually make those changes. Now we need to grant this user permissions. So all you gotta do is type grant user all privileges OwnCloud_DB, and then .store. That's for the database and all tables. That's what the store stands for. It's basically a wildcard for everything underneath that database. So the database itself, as well as all the tables underneath it. And we want to grant all privileges to our OwnCloud user. So let's type it in again like the way we typed it in before. So OwnCloud user, and then let's go back to the end at localhost. Boom, and then put a semicolon at the end, press enter, and looks like we messed up something. Yeah, I typed something wrong somewhere in here. Oh, I see what I messed up. I mistyped the user account. So cloud, yeah, like I said, it'll let you know if you type anything incorrectly. So let's press enter, boom, good to go. And now let's flush our privileges, and then semicolon at the end, press enter. That'll reset everything for us, and then we can exit out. You put a semicolon at the end, and boom, we're good to go with our MySQL setup. We have our database set up, we have our user account set up for OwnCloud, so we're good to go. All right, so with our database ready, now we can go down and grab the latest version of OwnCloud. And let me show you guys how to get it right fast for a server using the command line. We're gonna use wget. So let me switch back over to the browser, and then let's go back to OwnCloud. The easiest way to get to it is just go all the way to the bottom. Over here on the get started, there's the download server button right here. Just click that. They'll take you to the page, and then the download zip. All you have to do is copy this link, and then all we have to do is switch back over to our terminal, and then we can do wget and then paste our link in there. and that should be the latest stable version of OnCloud. As you can see, it says OnCloud completes, boom, and that was released in July, so July 24th. And let's go down, press enter. That'll download our zip file. It's super simple. Zip should be on the system. I think zip comes installed, well, unzip comes installed because it's two different packages, and it looks like it is not. So let's go and install that right fast. So sudo apps updates, let's refresh the repositories, and then sudo apps install, and then unzip, press enter. That'll get unzip installed. And that's probably why I should have downloaded the Tor file, because that's already on here, I know for sure. But let's go down and use unzip, and then OnCloud, whatever it is, the name of it, and press enter. That'll unzip the file into that location, and it puts it in, it's a folder called OnCloud. So if we ls this directory, we'll see we have that OnCloud. This is the unzipped version of the file over here, so we're good to go. Now, one thing you want to do is move this directory, the whole directory, over to your default directory for Apache. So I'm gonna just run it and then show you guys what I'm talking about. So let's go sudo move. Let's move the OnCloud directory, and we want to move it to our var www and then html directory. And let's go down, press enter. That'll move it over there for us, and we're good to go. And one other thing we need to do is take care of the permissions of the OnCloud directory. So we could type sudo ch own, and we're going to change the ownership to our www tech data, and we want to change the group as well. So www tech data, and we got to specify that directory. So var www and then html and then OnCloud, and take that backslash off and press enter. And I'm sorry, I forgot one other thing we need to put in here is -r, capital R for recursive. That'll capture all the files under the OnCloud directory. So it'll change the ownership of that directory as well as all the files underneath it. So you have to put that capital R. So let's go down and press enter. Boom. Only take a second. We're good to go. And finally, we'll configure our Apache by setting up virtual hosts for our OnCloud server. And this is what will allow you to access it through your browser. So let me go down and show you guys how to set that up right fast. And all you have to do is create a configuration file, and I'll show you guys where it's stored. All the Apache files are stored under etc, and then you have a bunch of configuration directories in here. And the one we're looking for, this is our main Apache configuration. So I got videos showing you guys how to set up Apache and how to set up virtual host and all that stuff. So I won't go through the whole thing. I just wanted to give you a quick overview, but this is all the directories. And what we're looking for is sites available. We want to create our configuration file in there. And then when we enable the site, it'll move it to sites enabled, or to basically link to the sites enabled, and that'll activate the site for us once we have the file created, or our configuration file created. So let's go into sites available, and let's just create a onclouds.config, and it's conf, so oncloud.conf, and press enter. That'll open up our text editor, and I already have the configuration set up for it. That way we can get to it, but it basically lays out the location of our OnCloud directory, and I just put port 80. It should work because I'm looking at this stuff all locally, so we're good to go. So let's go down and save this file right fast and press enter. And now let's go down and activate our site. All you have to do is type sudo a to enable site, and then we have to specify OnCloud, and you can hit tab. That'll find it for you. It'll look for files in that directory that are created as far as configuration files. So let's go down and press enter, and that should work. And all we have to do is reload Apache at this point, and we're good to go. So let me do that right fast. So let's go sudo, I'm gonna actually restart the server. So let's go sudo systemctl restart Apache 2.servers, press enter. That'll restart the server for us, and it also kind of reloads that file for us as well, that configuration file as well. But boom, our OnCloud is now installed and configured. And all you need to do is go back over to your browser, and you should be able to go to the IP address of your server, port 80, which that's already known, but it's a directory called OnCloud. So let me go back to the terminal right fast so we can get our IP address, because let me just show you guys that. But if you type IP space A, press enter, that'll give out your device information as far as networking. So this is 10.10.0.114. So I'm gonna just copy that let's switch back over to our browser and we can go down and I kind of go through it and set it up. I didn't want to go too far with it. It's not that difficult to set it up once you get into it, but just type OnCloud at the end of the IP address and press enter. All right, I'm kind of glad this happened. As you can see, OnCloud does not support PHP 8. I forgot about this. And this is one thing about getting like the newest distro. You know, a lot of times they have to work out bugs or software is catching up. Like for instance, OnCloud in this case, you know, it supports, I believe 7.4. So I can show you guys how to fix it right fast. So switch back over to the terminal. One thing we need to do is uninstall PHP. So we can type sudo apt and then remove, and the packages that were installed or PHP lib apache 2. I'm gonna just paste them in so you guys can see. But yeah, PHP, and by default what Ubuntu will do, it'll install the latest version and the mods and all that stuff. So as you can see, it says lib apache 2 mod-php, as well as this PHP, and then PHP for MySQL. So let's go down and press enter. That'll remove the current version. Current version is 8. So yeah, you can see it right there. That is what we're removing. So let's go down there, press Y for enter, and that'll remove PHP that we currently have on there. And then also let's quickly run sudo apt updates, refresh again. And basically what we have to do is add a PPA, and I'll show you guys how to do it right fast. So we can, I'll just paste it in, but this is the PPA. So we're going to add a different repository. I want to get PHP 7.4, and let's go down and press enter. It's basically asking, are you sure you want to add this PPA? So if you press enter, I'll go down and add that PPA for us and refresh the repositories. As you can see, there we go right there. And this is one of the repositories for PHP that you can get one of the older versions installed. And then what I typically do when I add a PPA, I go down and hit sudo apt updates again just to verify, and then go down and install. And all you have to do is type sudo apt install. Then we can install that older version of PHP. So PHP, what was it, 7.4? Yeah, and I'm gonna tab it so you guys can see, but this will bring up all the packages for 7.4, and those same packages that we installed earlier, like the MySQL, should be in here. Let's see, MySQL. So bam, there we go, MySQL right here. And I know that lib.apache is on there as well. Let's actually add that next. So let's type what is it, lib apache 2, and then tech mods, and then PHP. And if you tab it out, you'll see they have all the different versions on here. So I'm gonna do 7.4. That way we can get that version. And then also one other thing was that PHP tech MySQL 7.4. So they'll get those 3 packages installed for us. So PHP 7.4, and then my PHP 7.4, and that's for Apache. And then also the MySQL package as well. So let's go and press enter. Oh, and I actually typed it in wrong. So we take that off, and it's supposed to be 7.4 up there at the front. So boom, and that should be good. And it should install our packages for us. So let's go down and press enter, boom. And we can get those on here super quick. And then I'm gonna restart the services, and then we should be able to go to our website at that point, because I had a correct version of P. So I'm glad that popped up. You guys can at least see that, and you can troubleshoot it, you know, based on the error that you're receiving in the browser. And just by looking at this, it kind of tells you what it is, you know, what's wrong with it. It says this version of OnCloud is not compatible with PHP 8.0. So the only thing you can do is install an older version of it. So I was able to walk you guys through, you know, installing that older version or removing 8 and then installing that older version. Now, looks like it all finished. So let's go down and reboot our services. Let's go sudo, and actually let's just reboot the server right fast. It'll all come up, and then I'll just switch over to our browser and we'll just start refreshing, and it should come up in a couple seconds. All right, now for the moment of truth, and boom, there we go. So PHP module, so another module is not installed, have been installed, but they are still listed as missing. All right, so this is saying PHP module, let's see, what's that, international or something like that? I can't remember what it's called. But let's log back into the server, and man, this thing then turned into a troubleshooting video. So let's go down and log back into our server, and let's see if this is even here. So let's go sudo, we could type PHP from what I remember, enable mods intl, and press enter, and let's type in our sudo password. All right, module, yeah, that file is not there, so we have to install it right fast. So let's type sudo apt install PHP 7.4 intl and press enter. So we got that package installed. Shouldn't take too long. Yeah, there we go. All right, so now let's enable that module. Cool, so we good to go. Now I'm sure we gotta restart our service, so let's go to system restart Apache. That way we can see our changes. So let's switch back over to our browser. We refresh the site. Let's see what it says this time. Boom, good to go. Now I'm gonna just go through a few things quickly. Let's go down and create this because we ran into those issues. And what you want to do with OwnCloud, you want to make sure you use very strong passwords for this thing. I'm gonna use some kind of strong in your data folder. That's your data folder. And then now you want to type in your database user, which we created earlier. So all you have to do is type that information in. And ours was OwnCloud user, boom. And then our password, I think I used password 1 2 3 4 or something like that. And then the database name, and boom, let's type that in. So it's OwnCloud_DB and it's localhost. And let's say it finished setup. Hopefully that works. Hopefully I typed in that password right. That'll be the first account that it creates, which is that admin account for the server. Make sure you make it something you can remember or write it down somewhere. That way you know how to get into your server. Because if you lose that password, I think it's a way to reset it, but you definitely want to not lose that password. All right, and that finished. And I know that took well, you guys didn't see it, but that took a little time because it has basically to create the database with all, everything in it, once it actually connects to it. So let's go down and type in our username and then our password. Basically get everything set up for us, during that configuration that pops up at the beginning. Hopefully I typed in the password correctly. If not, we'll figure it out. All right, and you should be greeted with the main screen in order to get all the apps installed and all that stuff. So I'm gonna close that, but boom, here is Nextcloud. And then the admin account, you can basically go in and set up your settings. You set up all your users, all that good stuff. And it also points you to all the apps. Like I said, it's supported on Linux, Windows, Android, the Apple Store, all that stuff. You can show that run wizard again. That'll walk you through setting it up. You can go through and modify your storage, your sharing settings, your security. And what you want to do is don't use the admin account as your main account. Store that password somewhere like a password manager or something like that, and then create you a user account. That way, if someone gets your password to your personal account, hopefully they don't have access to the admin account in your password manager. Hopefully that's different at least. And so people can't get into the admin of the server. But like I said, you got a whole bunch of settings in here. So your security settings, you can add a domain to it. It's a dope application. Now, this is one of the things I want to show you guys. They do have an app management system. You can go in and add all this stuff. Most stuff is already on there, but you can add them or approve them. You can disable them if you don't want your users that are using this server to have access to those applications. And then let's see, email server, you got your storage. So enable external storage if you need it. Like let's say you have a NAS on your network, you can connect that to it. Encryption, server-side encryption. Oh yeah, and also with encryption, you want to go down and set up a SSL cert, and you can use Let's Encrypt. I think I showed you guys that in the past. I probably need to do a updated video, but there's a cert bot you can install and it'll check the cert to make sure it's still valid. And if it needs to get a new one, it'll get a new one for you. So it's a fully automated thing when it comes to putting a cert on your server. And so that is Nextcloud. I know it was a pain to get it installed a little bit, but we got through it, and I hope you guys got some out of the tutorial. So what do I think about OwnCloud? Honestly, it's dope. It's like having your own little slice of the cloud without the corporate nonsense. Is it perfect? I would say no. Sometimes you'll hit a snag, especially if you're not super familiar with server setups. Like a lot of those issues I ran into, I'm just very familiar with Linux and I've been working with it for a while. That's why I was able to troubleshoot them and fix them. You know what I'm saying? But that may not be the case for everybody, especially if you're new to it. But that's what makes it worth it. It forces you to learn a little more about Linux and web servers. Plus, it's extremely customizable and you can tweak it however you like. Now, from a privacy standpoint, it's a solid choice. You don't have to worry about Google or Dropbox snooping through your stuff. And for someone like me who loves having control over everything, OwnCloud is a dream. Is it the easiest cloud storage option out there? Probably not. But where's the fun in easy, right? Plus, if you're all about learning, tweaking, and keeping your data under your control, OwnCloud's definitely worth it. So that's all I got for you guys today. Now you know how to set up OwnCloud on Ubuntu server. So whether you're setting it up for personal use or for a team, this is a great way to have control over your files. And as always, I hope this tutorial was helpful and that you feel more confident about diving into Linux and setting up your own cloud. Now, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a future upload. And of course, if you run into any issues, make sure you drop them down in the comments below. You're probably gonna run into them like I did, but I'll do my best to help you out. This is Keep It Techie, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Whenever I talk to people, whenever I mentor people dealing with, getting into tech, you got to figure out what you like or what you're interested in. Because, yeah, a lot of people get into the, tech field because you can make a good amount of money. The money is the motivator. But you also, in my opinion, in order for you to be happy, you got to like what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And so, like for me, a lot of times it doesn't feel like work, bro. Most times it really doesn't feel like work. Yeah, I'm doing something fun. I'm doing something I love to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's what makes it, great for me.